It is. You know what, the thing about Arsenal and transfer windows in the past, I've paid heavy attention because we've got it wrong year after year for so many years in the Emirates. It's only now that, in my opinion, the last, 2.5, 3 years, we've been getting it right. You know, I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm not an accountant. I'm not the director of football. I'm not none of these. So I shouldn't really need to. It's just that the way Arsenal went over them years, I was like, what the fuck's going on? Yeah. But now it's like, I'm just sitting back, chill. Sesko, you want to stay there? We've had far greater players than Sesko come through the doors and go out the doors. So, all right, we missed out on him, but...
Yeah, not the end of the world. Well, let me ask you guys then, the reports then coming out since have been, okay, Xerxes, okay, other players, but, Robbie, they're now saying Arsenal might turn their attentions to the winger market instead. Do you think that's the right next move, or are you thinking, no, you wanted a 9, find that 9?
Yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah, well, just going back on what you were just saying there about Sesko.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that the player himself said, "I want to stay for my development," means he weren't ready.
Yeah.
you need to be developing at Leipzig. Then we want to. I think everybody wants a striker that could come in right now and do a job. So, he wouldn't have been the one anyway. So, but yeah, I think. Listen, when you look in the market at the moment, the only obvious striker that I look at and say to myself, yeah, get him, is Victor Osimhen, that's available. Because even Gyökeres, he's had a knee operation. Yeah. You're not going to buy a player who's having a knee operation. You're going to have to wait on that, right? So the only one is Osimhen. And as long as that £110 million release clause stays in place and they're insisting on that, I don't think he's worth that. I don't think he's worth paying that. I think that would be too extortionate right now, right? So if that is the case, then I do think it's a good idea to look to the winger market, because we still scored a lot of goals last year. So if you bring in another wide player that can score goals, I don't see nothing wrong with that. And, I was talking about this the other day that, you look at some of the players who scored the most goals in the room. Mohamed Salah is a winger. He's not a striker. Mane used to be a winger. Yeah, we got Saka. He's a winger. He scores the majority. He's our top goal scorer, wasn't he? So, wide players now, the way in which football changed so much. Yeah, the wide players are getting the goals. It was Trossard and Saka that got the majority of our goals. Now, I'd love an out-and-out striker, but I just can't see at the moment who that guy is.
So that's interesting. What about you, Curtis and Tosh? I want to get your thought. Go for the next 9, or explore the winger market? What are you thinking? Because we're going to play a little game in a sec, but go on.
For me, I do still want to see us go for a striker. I know, like you said, the wingers are getting the goals, but we've still got quite a few wingers. If you bought a left winger, what do you do with Trossard and Martinelli? Yeah. I know you've obviously got Saka on the right, and you do want competition for him, but even though Havertz got good numbers towards the end of the season, I still think there was moments where in the big games he didn't quite have that clinical edge. He didn't score in any of the Champions League knockout games, didn't score against City. He did contribute in those games, but for me, we were talking off camera there, and I do like Osimhen, but for me, I would still go for Ivan Toney. I just think, I know in January everybody kind of wanted him, and now, because he had a quiet 6 months, he's not really flavour of the month, but I just think he's got a year left on his deal. He's clearly not going to renew unless nobody comes in for him. I think you probably get him 50, 60 million pound.
The age though.
But I don't. Should we worry about the age? He is 28 at the moment.
You've got to worry about the age, because then you're starting to. Aren't we then starting to go back to what we used to do, where you go and buy an aging player? Well,
28 still not old,
so
is
not
it?
exactly aging, but. You go. He's 28, 29, isn't he?
This year.
This year, right? So you buy a player for 29. If it don't work out, he's not worth anything.
I suppose that's with every player, though, isn't it? There's always.
Well, it's a bit different when you buy a player who's 24, 25. You can still move him on for a good fee. I think. Do we want to go into that again? We used to do that a lot, didn't we? The older players. Yeah. That's my only thing with that, because I do like Ivan Toney. I still think he's a top player. Listen, he's with the England squad now over at the Euros. You know what I mean? So he's a good player. Yeah. And he's Premier League ready. He knows the Premier League inside out, and I like his tenacity, and I like his belief. But it's just, I just look at it, I'm like, if he was 25,
Yeah.
that's my only. I don't know about you.
I suppose the thing is, if he comes in and bangs goals,
Tony's all right, man. Overhyped though, in my opinion. I think he gets the respect he deserves, but I don't think he deserves the step up to this level. The 120 goal season he had in the league, it was great numbers, but it was filled with penalties. Now I'm not saying penalties is a negative. Obviously you have to bag them still, but he's had 120 goal season. You know, it's not like we're getting a 30 striker in him. So for me, I think we're at a stage now where I'd rather take a risk on an unknown name.
Would you?
Because Tony I know, and Tony, all right, he comes and we're going to predict he gets what, 20 goals?
Might win us the league though. 20 goal striker.
Yeah, but I think we can also get that from one of the unknown names out there.
Do
Yeah. But our attack is so fluid, our transition is so fluid that we control so much of the ball in every game. I think the team is waiting for a striker to just come and make the position its own. But I just think Tony he hasn't done enough for me to say, yeah, he's the guy, even at 50, 60 mil.
Well, let's test this. Everyone pick up your whiteboards. We're going to play a little game. In the meantime, Texas Cannon, thank you for your super chat. He's bigging up production. They have fixed everything. And there was a comment at the very start as well from, let me just see, Mahad, the video that you saw with the amazing Curtis as well, Babs and Christian Ty will be out soon. When is it? They'll let me know. It's going to be out very soon. Don't you worry. Just had to change a couple of things, but tomorrow. It's out tomorrow. So yeah, don't worry. That will be back. Do not worry about that. Okay.
Edited you out, yeah.
Yeah, no,
yeah. Let's clip out all the Curtis bits. So okay, right on your boards. Just be ready to almost make a tally. So put strikers and put wingers. So.
What, just two columns?
Two columns where you can add a tally for each one, basically. So strikers, wingers, and then you're going to start adding a tally in a sec.
Just strikers and wingers, yeah?
Yeah, strikers and wingers. Have my sheet of paper, people. This could be the world's worst exercise, but we'll have a bit of fun anyway. Now, as you're doing that, I've written down a list of 15 strikers and 15 wingers. And what I'm going to do is it's really simple. This is nothing particularly innovative. I'm going to read out the 15 strikers, and you just write a little tally if you want them at Arsenal. Not just I take them. You want this player at Arsenal. You write a little tally. You don't have to put the name, nothing like that. We can discuss the names after.
Not just you'll take them.
Yeah, you want them. You want Arsenal to go for them this summer. Yeah, we ready?
Yeah.
Start with the strikers.
What, a tick? Or what do we?
Just tick or cross. Or you can put a line, whatever. Just something so you can then count them after. Yeah. All right. Number 1, Jonathan David. Dominic Solanke.
Wait, so hold on. So it's a tick if you want them.
Cross if you don't. And just do it.
Yeah, you don't just mark if there's a player you want. So you don't even have to put a cross if you don't. As in, because I just want to tally at the end how many you'd have. So number 1, Jonathan David. Number 2, Dominic Solanke. You can let us know in the chat as well. Number 3, Ivan Toney. Number 4, Joshua Zirkzee. Number 5, Randall Kolo Muani. Number 6, Evan Ferguson. Number 7, João Pedro. Number 8, Benjamin Sesko. Of course, we know that won't happen now, but we'll put that in anyway. Number 9, Lois Openda. Number 10, Gonzalo Ramos. Number 11, Darwin Núñez. Number 12, Ollie Watkins. Number 13, Victor Gyökeres. Number 14, Dusan Vlahovic. And number 15, Victor Osimhen. There's the 15 strikers. You've
done a lot of research there, haven't you? I was pulling out all sorts of names.
I went into the depths of Football Manager there.
Yeah.
And there could have been more. I could have put Vitor Roque from Barcelona. There was a few I left out. But, right, people wondering what this list is before I go on to the wingers. This is a list of strikers that I'm not saying we're linked with. I'm not saying we can get. But I think if Arsenal put the right money on the table, potentially attainable this summer for the right money. The wingers, are we ready for your next tally? Number 1, Yeremy Pino. Number 2, Adeyemi. Karim Adeyemi, I think. Number 3, Brian Mbeumo. Number 4, Jan Bakayoko. Number 5, Ferran Torres. Number 6, Kaoru Mitoma. Number 7, Pedro Neto. Number 8, Nico Williams. Number 9, Eberechi Eze. Number 10, Mikel Olise. Number 11, Marcus Rashford. Number 12, Kvaratskhelia. Number 13, Rafael Leao. Number 14, Rodrigo. Number 15, Mohamed Kudus. Okay, so those are the lists.
Some good players
Now,
there.
That was trying to somewhat demonstrate the market. What is out there? What could Arsenal be looking at right now? And I'm really interested to know who had a higher tally for what. So let's start with you, Curtis, at the very end. How many strikers did you have?
I've only ticked 3 of them.
3 strikers. How many wingers did you tick?
And then wingers, I've ticked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9.
9 wingers you ticked for.
Yeah.
Robbie?
I picked 5 strikers, and wingers I picked 6.
6 wingers.
12.
12.
12
wingers.
2.5 strikers.
We'll talk about them.
2.5.
And 4 wingers.
And 4 wingers. So everyone ticked for more wingers than strikers. So I'm so glad because it meant this experiment worked. The point I was trying to make in all this, and yes, it is the world's worst game, but the point I was trying to make in all this was when we're hearing reports and the natural instinct is to go, oh, but we need a 9. I think the point I was trying to demonstrate, now listen, you only need 1. So you might have just that 1 striker and that's your top target. But the winger market is so much, there's so much more for Arsenal to look at there in my opinion. And I've left players out there as well. I can understand why Arsenal want to look at that market and strengthening the front 3 in general as opposed to going for a 9 that they don't think is right. Now one of the players I left out there was Isak, who we know 120 million, but maybe that's your guy over everyone. But Robbie, now we've done that, just what's your thoughts on the market and some of the players I've read out? We can talk about them in more detail as well, but the market and the forward market in general.
I said it a minute ago that wide players as well can score goals, and there's not loads of really top strikers out there, is there? There's not. There, you look at it and you're like, who's that guy that you could get for 70 million? There's
not a lot there.
You're really stretching it. Whereas you look at the wingers, I mean, a lot of them names you named out there, I'd have Elise, I'd have Eze as well.
We'll go through some of them in a sec because they're worth a discussion.
Rashford could possibly come in and, if Arteta worked his magic on him, he could score goals. So, but the strikers, Jonathan David is an interesting one because he's been scoring goals for years over in France for Lille. He's quick, he's a good player, but nobody's ever really gone in for him. And that's always something where I'm thinking, well,
he's a bit of a transfer daily legend as well, isn't he? We were talking about him years ago as well, man.
Yeah, because but why is no one, and obviously they got scouts looking at these players.
Yeah,
Nobody's really gone in, so that always makes me wonder and think to myself, is there a reason for that? Is there, because his goal count always seems to be good.
Pretty good,
yeah. Those names, who's your half striker, Turkey?
Ollie Watkins.
Okay, yeah, all right, and who are the 2 you go for?
Osherman and Openda.
You do like
You like him, I remember we spoke about him before.
Back-to-back 20-goal seasons. We create a lot.
You watched him, didn't you?
This is the new Patson Daka.
Oh, yeah.
No. This is different. This is different.
Thank you,
Sorry,
James.
bro.
Now you reminded me.
Sorry.
Now I know not to
This
trust
one's
him.
different. This one's different.
You like pace, isn't it? If they're quick,
Openda's a good striker.
he is decent.
I saw that
striker.
Openda, right, in a couple of games, man, and he missed so many chances. I was like,
Yeah, players. He does miss chances, but he's been ice cold in front of goal as well. Like there's games that I've seen him where he's bagged 2 goals, a hat trick, in front of goal, left foot just slots it away. I've seen him bagging with his right as well. No, I think he's one that's gone under the radar. They picked him up on a nice fee, and to be honest, I think his numbers are better than Sesko's this season. So all this hype about
he played
Sesko,
a lot more games than Sesko, didn't he?
But what does that say though?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, man.
He's in France. He scored 20. He moved over to
How much
Germany.
did they pay
He's got
for
20.
Him? Like 30 mil, wasn't it?
30 mil or something like that. So back-to-back different leagues, he scored 20 goals in each.
Fair enough.
Where's he from again?
Belgium.
Yeah.
That's why Patson Daka and all this Eddie
Yeah.
stuff.
Patson Daka, we remember the Patson
Yeah,
Daka.
but
never
Patson
forget
Daka
that.
scored the 20 in Austria or something, and Eddie's never scored 20. You man, you're laughing like Eddie wasn't your guy. You
Eddie
lost
scored
money that
30.
year.
Eddie probably
You
scored
lost
30.
money that year.
He probably scored 30 over there
Eddie?
in Austria.
And Leicester
we might
offered
see
Daka,
5 goals in
Leicester
might see
offered
next
Daka in
season.
a swap deal with Barcelona.
for Jules
And when he
Koundé.
Yeah, that Lamine Yamal. Do you want to do a little?
Now I've seen that guy miss some open goals as well, man. Like,
And this is what I'm saying with the striker market. Like, there's so little there, is it? That's
Who
why
are your 3?
So I ticked Tony, Gyökeres.
Yeah.
It's still a bit of a risky one. I don't know because of the knee injury. And Osimhen. I think Osimhen's overpriced, but still,
quality.
is he one of the best strikers available? He is on this market. But
Style suits the Premier League as well, in my opinion.
he's tall, he's quick, he's direct. He's
If I said
physical.
Isak, he'd be on all your lists, right?
He's number one.
yeah.
He'd be
Isak's
number
the
one.
one. We all. He just suits our style.
Would you spend 100?
I would.
This is a little. So this is coming out on the channel. I keep advertising content. It's all coming. I did an in focus, and most people will be like, "Why did in focus and a breakdown on a player that we're not even rumored to even be trying to sign?" The reason we did it is because the whole case I built was looking at this list as well and being like, rather than get your 60 million player who's there, they're not just below Isak, they're way below Isak. Maybe not Osimhen. Just spend that extra and get the guy, but you wouldn't spend 120 on Isak.
No, it's too much.
It is too
I
much.
think
I would
120,
blow up the
120
market.
million
That's
pound.
it. There's no way.
But Stones,
I
listen,
would
this is what's
blow
funny
up the
though,
market,
yeah?
bro.
When man says we're paying Havertz 275k, I tell you it's too much. But then
No, but that's his wages.
No, but when we've
Havertz
got
cost
him,
60 million.
when we've got him, it's a different feeling.
No,
you don't care about the money, so it's
Yeah,
like
I guess
120
so.
mil, you're
I
gonna
guess
be
so.
like,
But to me,
fuck it.
120 million pounds. Let's be sensible now. I mean, for Isak, that's too much.
I would
if
pay-
you're spending 100 on defensive mids,
Yeah.
120 on a striker.
And do you know what? Years ago, remember when Van Persie left Arsenal, right? Instead of paying the money for Suarez, we bought Giroud, we bought Podolski, we bought Lucas Perez, we bought Welbeck.
40 million in a pound.
Sometimes you spend more money.
120.
But you know what I mean? The market's gone up, but I think sometimes you're better off saying pay 120 for Isak. You don't need a striker for 5 years. Rather than buying somebody for 60 million. You could have bought Sesko, and in 2 years you go, he's not good enough, we've got to go again. We bought Jesus, now we're saying let's buy another striker. We bought
Yeah, I get
Havertz.
it.
So I think sometimes just
But
go
then
for
you
that.
can also look at it and say, when Newcastle bought Isak,
Yeah.
was it 60 million?
60 mil, yeah.
Right? Nobody expected him to do what he's doing now. He was a good player, but there was. I remember at the time there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, I watched him in the Euros. He missed loads of chances. Not too sure about him. He's had a good season. That's his breakout season last year. I'd still, if I'm going to pay that money, I think I'd go Osimhen. You know what I mean? Osimhen led Napoli to their first title in about 40
Since Maradona, right?
Yeah,
Them
since
times,
Maradona,
The
right?
scenes were amazing.
He scored in last season, an injury hit season where he didn't really, do well. He scored 17 goals. When he was over in France, he scored goals for fun. I think he's the one. I mean, aesthetically, Isak's a great player, but it'd be so difficult to get. I'd rather, try and get Osimhen. That would be me right now. But I just think 120. He's had one good season. That's a lot, man. He's taken a big chance there. I'm not quite sure. I really like him, and I get what you're saying. You know what I mean? It's not our money, so you don't care when the player comes in. But then if it goes wrong, all of a sudden it is our money. Everybody starts to say, "Why did we could have bought him? We could have got him." You know what I mean? So
I think we've entered an era though where if they have changed, then they need to take these risks as part of the makeup for what they did in the first 15 years, because they took no risks in the window. They sold as much players as they could in terms of anyone we had of any talent, and the players we brought in were never of adequate level. So now they have turned it around the last 3-4 years, and we're in a much better place. And I think Declan Rice is a lot of people used to laugh at me when I used to say, Arsenal need to spend 100 million on a player. We've finally done that now. Man can't laugh when we're saying 120. But I think now we've entered this, new era. They're full owners and whatnot. They still owe us a few big risks, and I'd rather they take the risk in Osimhen or Isak, 120 mil, and it doesn't work out, then go for a 40, 50, 60 mil, and it doesn't work out. Because then if you go for the 120, the two big names, Isak or Osimhen, you get them in, it doesn't work out, then it's not on the owners, it's not on the club. You know, it's more on, all right, we got you the, you know, this is the one you wanted. So for me, they need to take these risks now, man.
Do you know the thing that concerns me is the way Havertz finished the season. I wonder if Arteta and them are thinking we don't need to buy a top quality striker. Because we've seen this before at Arsenal, innit? You know, Wenger used to do it, you know.
I actually feel that they are thinking that.
Because I think that could be why Sesko didn't
you know
join
why?
us, because
no,
they might have said,
because
you've got to
as
compete.
much as Havertz stepped up, Jesus and Nketiah declined. So that was our three strikers going into or two. So our two strikers going into last season was Jesus and Eddie, because Havertz was the 8.
Yeah.
Havertz managed to fill in when Jesus took a step back. Jesus has never recovered from that, and Eddie's on the way out. We know of, but he better be on the way out. It's about time.
Going Barcelona,
So
apparently.
we've got two strikers that have regressed now.
Pedri, Gavi.
You think that means like I started that this morning? You think like I started that rumour or something like that? Yeah.
Turkish saw him at the airport in Barcelona.
He started it. Yeah, he started it.
I saw him in the queue. I went. He said, "Yeah."
Eddie's going new camp.
Robbie, you won't believe this.
You won't believe this, Rob.
Robbie, he's joining Espanyol. Yeah?
Just tell him it's Barca.
Oh, man. So, okay, we've talked about some of the strikes. Any more you want to talk about there, we can. But the winger market, because if there are, and these are reports, right? A lot of people came out after the Sesko stuff. You know what happens, right? There's disappointment because we didn't get a player, and quickly, you know, we need to be told what we are doing. Like, and maybe the club just want people to know, no, we're looking at this now. So amongst that was, we want to get sales done. Amongst that was maybe prioritising midfield, but the winger over a striker was discussed. So, what were the names we liked? Jeremy Pino, anyone tick for him?
No.
Adeyemi?
No.
Missed a few chances in that Champions League final, didn't he?
He's not a bad lad. Adeyemi is a good bat, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mbemo?
Yes.
I'll take him, Momo.
I'll take him, Wormer. I like him, man. Underrated
I don't
player.
want him.
What's wrong with him?
You know what?
Underrated.
You know what I
feel
think
like we
about
can get
Mbomo, yeah, is if we've got like 200 million and we spend 150 of it to fix midfield 8 and striker, and the least chunk goes on backup winger, then Mbomo's perfect. But if our focus is winger, then we should get
that's
better
where
than
I'm at.
Mbomo.
Okay.
If you buy a big striker and then get Mbeumo, I'll accept it. If you're telling me no striker and then that's the winger, I feel
that's
like
different.
Yeah,
you've
I
sold
hear
me a
that.
bit
I hear
short.
Because he'd be a solid rotation for Saka. Like he does
Yeah.
essentially
He's
the
a good
same
player,
sort
man.
of.
Yeah.
Liverpool are linked, and I'm
They
like,
are.
he's a perfect fit for them. But yeah. So, okay, you take Mbemo. Bakayoko.
Yes,
He looks
like
good,
him.
Yeah, did well against us.
Like
Ferran
him.
Torres.
No.
No.
No more former City players there. Kaoru Matoma.
Yes.
I'm a bit like, I feel like,
Very
It's the injury,
hit.
before the injury.
yeah, before he was electric. It
Very
depends how
injury
much he
hit
costs for it. He's an exciting player, but
Exciting player.
Pedro Neto. Did you guys tick for Pedro Neto?
Yes.
Again,
Yes.
it's the injuries have just
he's a
never
baller,
fully
man.
come back
He's a
though.
wicked
I would
player.
possibly still risk
I
it
would
even
still
with the
get him,
injury.
man. He's a
So good.
good player. That is the backup that Saka needs.
He would push Saka.
And do you know the thing is about him is like if he's even an impact. You imagine that pace
Yeah,
and
bring
him
on,
come
That's what it
directness
has to
coming on late in a game, man. That'd be a
I think
great
he play on the
signing.
left.
That'd be a great
Yeah.
signing.
Nico Williams.
Yes.
No,
You
not
don't like
for you
him?
two. What's your thinking?
What's wrong with him? I like him.
He's still too raw, I think, what I've seen of him.
Spanish international now. I think he's a good player. I think he's good.
Eze.
Definitely.
Yeah,
All day long.
Winger, is he? More, a bit more central.
yeah, he can play across the top.
Yeah.
All day long.
You're right.
Quality.
Elise.
All
Yeah.
day long.
Rashford.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
2 for Rashford.
I'm ready
1
for
no.
that celebrate. You, to be fair, you two been putting up pictures for months doing all this, so, you know, believe and all
He heard
that.
you cool.
How you man saying yes to Rashford though?
Bro, you come on.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You
You know
man
what?
laughed at me about Werner a minute ago. Now
Yeah,
you're going to bring
Rashford's
up
better
Rashford.
than Werner, bro.
Just
Way
about,
better.
bro. Just
Nah,
about.
you're
He's got
talking.
English tax on him, really.
Yeah,
He's got
talking.
130 goal season. Cool. Yeah, don't get it
Has
twisted.
Timo got a...
In Germany, he probably does before he signed for Liverpool. I don't remember what he got, but
Man, Werner's nowhere near us.
but
Timo's
Rashford is not the
done.
guy.
Do you know what,
right?
right?
Make him
I
a rescue mission.
I used to think,
No, but I'm tired.
We
of
need
this.
one this year.
I've thought to myself, no one
Havertz
Rashford.
was a rescue mission.
But then when I think about it, right, and I look at what he did with Havertz, what could he do with... I do think of Rashford, I see a guy there that needs change. He needs some. If he was at Arsenal, he'd be a different player. I feel that.
I think he's a game changer on his day. I just think he needs a different
I also
environment.
think he's shown many times that, listen, Rashford's done a lot of good, but he's also shown signs of, I don't want that sort of character around, I'll be honest with you. Like, players can go out, but don't be going out after your team's getting pumped. I'm sorry. You ever see that Arsenal? That was the days of, they didn't used to do per se the same thing, but our players used to smoke shisha and all that when we was losing. Remember how vexed we was? Man United are going through that era now, and Rashford's prime centre of it on 300k, and he doesn't give a shit wearing iced out shit and all. Wear that if you're banging. Don't be doing that if you're not.
Your Irish side's coming out now. It's moving like Roy Keane.
I get onto Havertz. Yeah. I get onto Havertz because of the money he's on. But Havertz in his private life is quite. I don't even know what the hell he does. But imagine if a man was on 300k playing shit. And then on the weekends he's living it up and just, I'm with Lil Baby and Central C and me.
Bro, you listen to these rappers,
yeah, but
man. But listen, do you know what? Yeah, I feel like Rashford is coming from a better situation than where Havertz was coming from. When we signed Havertz, the fan base was like, what are you doing? This guy's had 3 bad years really at Chelsea. I feel like, okay, Rashford last year was quiet, but the year before, he was ripping up the league. He always scores against us as well. Every time we play them, he almost scores against us.
Scored against that banger against City as well.
Yeah, I just think he needs a change of environment and a different manager. We need goal scorers, man.
He'll come in as the highest paid player. No.
Mate, you said don't worry about the money, man.
You said it don't matter how much to spend it. It's not our money and all that.
No, but we know that he's not he's not a guy that you pay the most at the club. We know that. We've seen it at Man United. He's been given the most money. They've gone backwards. So why are we going to now go make him high?
I think that's more a team thing than him.
No, but he's been put
as a system thing that we're
the manager
playing him. He doesn't get on with
He signed under that manager.
He did, but everyone's suffering under that manager.
How comes when it's good? He liked Ole as well. What happened with that one?
I'd have Rashford. As I said, I kind of used to be like, nah, but the more I thought about it, I think Arteta could get the best out of him. I think he'd be a different player.
Believe, man.
I'm tired, bro. Let him rescue Havertz fully first. We've got another season to make sure he's rescued this
and
thing.
the thing is, right, the thing is about it, right, it'd be probably, remember when he scored those, when he was banging in those goals, right, he was valued at about 120 million. He did what Isak was doing. Last season, he was doing the same thing.
What the season? What, when we
the season before, he did better than what Isak did.
30 goals all comps,
he had a 3-month blitz.
Huh?
He had a 3-month
scored
blitz.
Against Barca, scored against us, home and away.
He had a 3-month blitz. Where was he for the rest of the months?
It's harsh.
I'd take him.
Yes, big risk. That would be a massive risk.
You could possibly play him as a centre forward as well.
Don't get twisted. It could work. I'm not saying it can't work. There's definitely a player there, but I think I've seen enough to know. I'm not on that sort of a mentality no more. Arteta's done well to make this dressing room what it is now, and I don't think he fits in or what he'd have to understand what he's coming into and change up what I've seen at Man United.
Sometimes the Turkish, you walk into a dressing room and everybody's on it.
Yeah.
You're going to be on it as well because you're going to be, otherwise you'll be a real outlier. Yeah. He's played in the Premier League for years, so he knows it inside out. He knows Saka, Rice, these guys really well from his England. I don't think it would be the worst signing.
All right.
80 mil, 300k.
How about in the comments?
It hasn't worked so far, has it, for us?
I've seen you doing it on Instagram outside the Etihad.
Yeah, we drew that game though, so.
He
was happy with the draw though.
That was an unbelievable point, by the way. Just say, we got what we wanted.
You'll either believe or
all right, Kvaratskhelia. Who had him as a pick?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, he's quality.
Beast.
Yeah, he's regressed.
Was he that good this season?
He had a quiet season.
Good. He had a decent season.
Quietish season.
They finished like 8th, didn't they, or something?
He was amazing the year before, though.
Yeah. So see, will you take him? Rashford was amazing.
Yeah, but there's a different trajectory, though, man. Rashford's so up and down. 27, he's had like 2 proper good seasons. That's not enough for the potential he showed. He burst onto the scene with how many goals? Sorry to change it back, but Kvaratskhelia is like, all right, he helped. Behind Osimhen, he was a key figure.
Yeah.
Even at times, shoulder to shoulder with him. This season they've fallen about to win the league with Napoli. It was always going to go a bit backwards before.
What about this guy, also from Serie A? I mentioned Rafael Leao, who
100%.
Quality.
I don't think his last season was best. I don't really follow Serie A as closely as others.
Injuries again.
But my word, if you're talking about a player who has all the attributes to do whatever Arteta would need him to do in that front line, he's got them. He's such an exciting player.
It's another 120 million.
Yeah, that's the problem. Signed a
It's
new
gonna be
deal
that
with a release clause.
Oh, right.
Beast of a player.
Forget that then.
Even the Italian teams,
Score enough goals.
Maybe not. He got
That's the only
15, and I think last year, and he
Was
got
it
about
15?
9 last year. Though he didn't have a great year.
Yeah, he has. got the
He did have
potential.
injuries last year as well.
Yeah,
Though.
What about Rodrigo?
we've got no chance, have we? But yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, a bit of fun though.
Well,
Mbappe come in, maybe they have to.
there has been talk that they might sell him
They have to sell someone
because
Yeah.
who's going to drop out of that? But
they have to sell.
I don't
play
think
all
they'll
three of
sell him. He's still a young player. He's
play all three.
unbelievable.
There's other names coming in. I mean, the last one I had was Kudus. Who had a tip for
Yeah,
Kudus?
yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, definitely.
He's one of
yeah.
my top targets. You all know I'm
Yeah.
desperate to sign him.
And I heard a rumor that he's got a release clause. So I don't know what it is, but
400
I
million.
heard that rumor from like a very, very good source.
They only paid about 35 for him,
Yeah,
so maybe the
Yeah,
release
that
clause
he's got like a
70
clause, but
maybe.
I don't know the details of it. I don't know how much it is. Could it be one of the? Because there are some sort of release clauses where you have to stay for a couple of seasons
Yeah,
before it
yeah.
kicks in and that. But he apparently has one.
Okay, there are some other names coming in. One of them was. Oh, I lost it. Where was it? It was a really good suggestion. Oh, I forgot it. Some people are saying Julian Alvarez, but I don't think any of you are feeling that one, are you?
That's another 100 million. And I don't. City
Just
really,
don't want City players, man. I want to create our own like setup, man. We don't want to be the B-Tech City, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He is a good player, though.
I'm not sold on him fully either.
No.
No.
I'm not sold on him now.
Who, Julian
I
Alvarez?
think he's
Yeah, I'm
good,
not
man.
sold on
Good,
him.
good
Yeah.
striker. I'm not too sure he deserves that step up.
Fair. All right, let's go through your comments and super chats. There are quite a few coming in. We did get yours, Texas Cannons, bigging up production. Sadiq says, James Musiala hasn't signed a new contract. It's currently up to 2026. Arsenal have to be aggressive in the market. £100 million convincing Musiala is the most challenging bit.
Quality.
Should we be doing everything to make that happen next year?
If you can get it
He's a
done,
great
Top
player.
player.
Yeah.
why next year?
Because, don't know.
Try to do that this year.
Okay.
120 million again.
That's the going rate now, isn't it? Yeah, 100 mil, bro. You know what I mean?
It really is. Rizvan says, everyone calling for Arsenal to drop 100 million on this player, or that needs a reality check. The pool of high quality players is so small right now. Rather invest in young and grow the current 11. You didn't specify which player, Rizvan, but yeah, 100. Okay, yeah, I think I get what you're saying. There's another super chat from you, I think, in a second. Sinan says, here's a surprise name, Evan Nilsson from Porto.
Nah.
He looked all right actually when we played them. I need to know more.
I think we should get their manager as part of our staff.
He's left, hasn't
He got on well with Arteta.
he? I think he's left, yeah.
Rizvan says, Isak's injury record is worrying. 120 million for a player with Isak's injury record is worrying. If I were to pay 120, I'd go for Osman. Right, so one thing about this, yeah, he has had injuries at Newcastle, but don't spoil the whole video. His injury record's not as bad when you look at the last 5 years as people would think. Like, he's been a lot more available. I think 4 of the last 5 seasons he's played 40 games. So I think that wouldn't be as concerned as people. What we need to see is whether the injuries at
actually say-
Newcastle.
Say that about Partey as well.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
What about Guirassy? £17 million release clause. Am I pronouncing that right? Guirassy from Canadian Gooner. Is that the
Stuttgart, in.
Stuttgart.
He's had a real flash.
Yeah,
in the pan
he's
season,
about
though,
27, just had a big season
Mad
out of nowhere.
season
But I
out of
don't
Isn't
know
there
if he's that good.
Boniface?
Boniface
Leverkusen.
Leverkusen.
Yeah.
Be a lot of money.
Yeah.
Both in Bundesliga there. Gunnar Shab says, what do you think of Lautaro Martinez? He's not signed his contract and he's
Yeah, but
flexible
I'm
up
not a
front.
fan of that
Good
guy.
finisher.
What?
Nah.
He's an
I
excellent
would
player.
say
Stunk out the
Martinez.
World Cup.
Take him-
Alvarez took him straight out.
Yeah,
of
but
that team.
then he's gone back last season, had a great season for
I'll take
Inter.
Martinez.
He play, if you look at Inter, a lot of the time plays in a 2
Yeah, with
Dzeko and Marcus Thuram,
I
Lukaku.
like his
But I
quality,
think
man.
the way Havertz is now, it's essentially a 2 with him in the team.
How much would it? He'd be expensive as well, wouldn't he?
Yeah, 120.
There you go. You know what I'm saying?
Another 120,
120
man.
for everyone.
That's the rate.
Oh, no, man.
He's going to sign a new
80,
deal
90,
anyway.
yeah.
He'll sign that deal for Inter.
Yeah.
I don't think
They won the
he's
league
to
as
like
well,
it,
didn't they? Yeah.
Yoki says, Brahim Diaz is who we should go for. We need another creative player who's positionally versatile. Much love from the Philippines. And that is all the comments and super chats, but keep sending them in. All right.
Interesting, the Brahim Diaz is a interesting one. I wouldn't discount Arsenal going for him, you know.
Is he more of a 10 midfielder? I don't really know
Yeah,
much
he's more
about
of a midfield player, but a very good player. Time now might be limited now that, you know, you've got
How many players
Mbappes
are
and people
coming?
like that coming in, and you've got, you know,
Someone's
Endrick
gonna leave
coming
Real,
in. You've
They're
got
going to have to let someone
Arda,
go.
your Turkish guy, Arda thing there.
He's got too many.
Gula, how much game time is he going to get? And he's a top quality player, and he could be another Odegaard type
Where he drops out.
signing. You know
A
what I
lot
mean?
of people are suggesting that. I don't know why. So this is just the name that Tchouaméni keeps on popping up. I don't know why.
Yeah, well,
But I don't know how the two attacking players would cost that position. So
Especially with Tony Kroos retiring, you would have thought
Yeah, he
Tchouaméni
might get more
might
time.
get game time. But
Yeah.
but
Oh,
then
yeah.
Camavinga's the one that's played at a position
Yeah.
a lot. Camavinga would be.
oh, them guys. there
Listen,
are
the
just
same way we
different.
got Ozil, I wouldn't mind doing that again this summer.
Yeah.
If any of these players we mentioned at Real were an option, any of them, or any of
That's
them,
it.
Rodrigo, Diaz, Tchouaméni, Camavinga, go in.
Yeah.
That would be great business.
Fair enough. We'll end up with Andre Lunin. He's the only.
That's someone
He's
would
the
be
only
a
Real
link
Madrid
with.
player with
So
the link.
is that not a weird link for you?
Yeah, it is a weird link.
Apparently,
Another
wants out
goalkeeper.
though, don't he?
And then today linked with another
Arteta needs a
goalkeeper.
goalkeeper. Every window needs a goalkeeper.
Diogo Costa linked with today as well, the Porto keeper. I mean,
We
These
haven't
are
even
weird
signed
links.
Raya permanently yet, have
Yeah.
we? And then we're now looking another one.
that's strange links.
Maybe he really does want to play the two goalkeepers.
He did say that, did he?
I tell you what, that's a video ranking every goalkeeper we've signed under Arteta, from Runnison to Matt Ryan, or just every goalkeeper he's had.
Emi
Bernd
Martinez.
Leno, Emi Martinez, Aaron Ramsdale, David Raya, Matt Turner. I know you rate him. You're a big fan, Curtis.
He had a good game last night.
He did actually.
He did. It's
Like
against
the first
Brazil,
one he's
yeah,
had.
against Brazil, man. He was saving everything.
Good on him. Forrest will be delighted.
No, that Forest
They're
was
trying to sell him
terrible.
already.
Well, they knew what it was after a couple of game weeks.
They're looking, going, you give us Matt Turner and Nuno Tavares, they're never going to speak to us again.
We rushed through that sale so he could play in the game against us at the Emirates.
And we beat him.
You could have him
Is
against us.
Tavares back us, yeah?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
back, mate. Why do you think Win the Dog merch is out, mate? We're gonna make him feel at home.
You're evil, man.
Oh,
Nuno's
no.
back.
Oh god. Oh right.
You're out of order.
Yeah, you really are.
Listen, man. Hey, 120 million, they've got to make money somehow, you know what I mean? Sell some toys and that.
You're not going to buy the Win the Dog.
Nah, I'll give it a miss.
Yeah, fair
I
enough.
said I'll buy it if we actually win something.
Just
Until
win holding a Premier League trophy.
win a trophy, and then I might buy. Until they might have to change that dog's name. To
Yeah, if it doesn't happen next season, that dog's name's got to change. Or they've
call
got
it
to send away.
process or something. You know?
No, oh, poor Win. Babs met Win, said Win's amazing. All right, let's get into the next part of the conversation we'll talk about. It's actually to do with sales. You can put these down if you want, you don't have to hold them. But, well, do we like the exercise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's all right.
It's all right. You're not running it on Big Six anytime soon,
No, I don't think so.
Probably not, fair enough.
It wasn't quite the 888 Sporty, does it? With the big thing.
I had a lot of space left. Look, I was saving space. So I thought if I
Yeah. If you ever want to know how difficult Turkish is to please, that's basically some insight. I gave him 30 players, of which 6.5 he was remotely
You had all that
impressed by.
space as well. You just used like
I
the
thought
top
he
bit.
said games, so I thought let me save space, rounds and whatnot. But no.
None of them.
Here we are.
I didn't mention Xavi Simons, another one.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Wide as a
Forward player,
midfielder as well. So, exactly, there's lots, but the winger market's definitely better. One market we need to improve for us is the selling market. We are poor in it. And I was going through this little teaser for the video coming out, and yes, we're so professional, I get it texted to me. So the roundtable talk is coming out tomorrow at 5 p.m. Me, Babs, Christian Ty, and Curtis. And then episode 2 is a little extra one, shorter, but still lots to get into. We talk about sales. That is out Sunday at 1 p.m. So look out for that as well. One of the things we talked about was actually if you had to get your 5 most valuable potential sales for Arsenal, you start to realise that there's 3, and then unless you're losing players in the squad, you ideally don't want to lose. We don't have that many truly sellable, like that we want to sell assets. That makes sense. So Nketiah's in there, Ramsdale's in there. Then you're sort of wrestling like Smith Rowe, Vieira, Kivior, Zinni. Like there's some, but ideally you want to keep a Kivior. Ideally you want to keep a Zinni. Maybe
there's enough to make 100 mil.
Well, there is. So what do Arsenal need to do? Because I saw that we want 50 million for Ramsdale. That was the report. Newcastle about to sign Trafford for 16 or something million. So one of our big buyers is out. So what do we do with this Ramsdale thing? Robbie, what's the minimum you do on the Ramsdale?
Ramsdale's 50 million is crazy. You know what I mean? No one's going to pay that for him. I think Ramsdale 35. You know what I mean? I think that's reasonable. He's an England international. We know he's a top keeper. He had a great season for Arsenal before Raya came in. Very unlucky to lose his place. If you're a team and you're looking for a quality goalkeeper, Ramsdale's that guy, you know what I mean? But the options out there.
Yeah, not many
without Newcastle, you know,
who's going to go?
Who's going to pay that sort of money for him? Who's going to come in for him? They may struggle to sell him. I get the feeling when I saw that price, I'm like, are Arsenal looking to keep hold of him? Because that's like a price to scare people off.
Yeah.
So I'm like, are they looking at it and thinking they don't want to get a number 2 in? They want him and Raya to compete again.
He's a terrible number 2, though. He's a terrible number 2. As great as he was for the first couple of seasons, last season he was terrible coming in for Real. He had 3 games where he nearly fluffed his lines.
I get what you're saying now. When you said it, I was like, what do you mean terrible? Yeah, okay, yeah, he struggled. He didn't come in. He didn't come in cold.
He didn't play well, did he? Yeah.
Ortega comes in and wins them the league with a save.
Yeah.
Ramsdale comes in and nearly fluffs his lines. Carabao Cup in the league.
Brentford,
He likes Brentford, doesn't he?
You wonder why would
play.
Ramsdale want to stay? That's the thing. You'd think he'd be knocking on the door saying, I've got to leave.
If you can't concentrate playing, you're on the bench for the majority of the games, it's gone. You might as well, it's time.
Okay. So what is the price? And I asked you this as well the other day, we'll do it again. What is the price you wouldn't that you'd ultimately just decide, well, I'm keeping him then? For me, it's under 30 million.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like any less than 30?
But I'd say 25 because we haven't handled it well. About 25.
Okay. Nah, we paid that for him. To me, anything under 30 we keep.
Yeah. Because
you're going to get a good backup goalkeeper in, you're going to have to spend.
Don't be surprised with a loan with an option to buy. I wouldn't be surprised with that.
Yeah,
actually,
that's a great shout.
It would be.
Yeah. Well, and
I'm at 30 as well. That's about, what do you pay, 25, 30 for him?
Yeah.
You've got to at least get your money back for him.
Yeah.
His price should have gone up, but because of the last year, sitting on the bench and then coming on making mistakes.
Why don't we just see if Brentford would take him? Just make it a swap.
I think Flecken's done quite well there,
And he's, do you know the thing? Didn't they say? Weren't we saying he's on like the same wages as like Ederson or something?
He's on 120.
Ederson's on 100. Yeah, Ramsdale's on more than Ederson. So a team like Brentford aren't going to give 120 to a keeper.
I can see that what Turkey said, that loan with an option.
That's not great business for us, is it? Loaning out Ramsdale with an option. He might come back in a year.
Are we bad sellers as a club? But look, fair play to everyone involved, from Arteta to Edu, especially. Whoever else it is, Tim Lewis, I think, Richard Garlick, all the people who are involved in the transfer process. Fair play. Ben White proved us wrong. Declan Rice went and got it done. And there's so many other options. Players we can mention when it comes to having success in the transfer market from an incomings perspective. From an outgoings perspective, we haven't got there yet. We haven't. No. Why is that?
Well, it's because historically we've been shocking over the years. We had loads of players that we had to either give them away or we've had to just like cancel contracts and sell them off. I think sometimes people need to have a look at what Arteta inherited when it comes to players. Players like Kolasinac, that they just had to just like let go because of the huge wages he was on. We had a lot of duds that he's, and only now have we got players of high value. Martin Odegaard, who we bought for 30 million, now worth 100 million. You know what I mean? Well, how much is Saka worth? How much is, most players you look throughout that team, we could sell for a profit, right? Whereas in the past, it has been quite frankly, absolutely shocking. Our highest selling player is
Iwobi.
No, not Iwobi. Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
how,
that's it, yeah.
for
That's
what?
years ago,
And that was
innit?
how much? 30-odd million.
or something.
2017.
A team like Arsenal, you look at even Tottenham, they're selling Bale 100 million,
Yeah.
Modric, massive money. You know what I mean? So that shows you the mess when it comes to transfers that Edu and Arteta inherited, and they've really turned it around now that, you know, you mentioned Ben White. How much would he be worth now in the current market? We paid 50 million for him. How much will he be worth? You know, how much is, Saliba worth? 27 million, what's he worth? What's Gabriel worth? They were talking last season 50 odd million for Gabriel. We paid 20 odd for him. That's how you do business. And that's why, even when you said earlier about Ivan Toney, I like Ivan Toney, but I just look at that. You're starting to move back into what we used to do, where you're going to get a player, he's going to be 29, next week, in no time he's 30. You've paid a big amount of money for him because it takes a lot of money to get a player like that. And if it doesn't work out, you're back to that again, what we used to have, where you've got a player now that you've got to move on. Teams will be like, oh, I'll give you 15 million for him, and you've lost a bit. I mean, that's where I think that's what they're trying to move away from. That's why I think that's the only reason they haven't gone for Toney.
The only reason
age
I
has gone
thought we
against
could have gone for him is because we've got so many young players now, and he always talks about the age. I thought every now and then I think you need to drop an older head in there.
Not huge money, because Ivan Toney is going to be 50 to 60 million pound probably. If Ivan Toney was about 30 million, I'm with you. But he's going to be about 50s, and then they start to move back into that where we've been so bad. I think amongst one of the worst teams before sort of Arteta and Edu got a grip of it, the worst selling clubs in the Premier League has got to be Arsenal.
I think it's a historic thing, though. I think when the only transfers I remember in my whole life, I thought, all right, it's probably Oxlade and Iwobi. I remember when we sold Henry, I was like, well, Bent just went to Tottenham for around the same fee. I remember we sold Fabregas. This is the next one up, 35 mil. I remember we sold Vieira, wasn't great. So many players over this dates back a long time. That's why our record is who it is, Oxlade or Iwobi, whoever it is. Because even back then when we had, I don't know what it is, but historically Tottenham tend to get big bucks for their players. Liverpool tend to, United. So I don't know what it is. It's a culture thing. It's a heritage. That thing is heritage as well. With us, we've just never seen
Liverpool, Coutinho. I
120
saw the other day. I didn't even realise he's still at Villa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's that's the prime example. Villa went and bought him, looking on it, thinking, quality player, blah blah blah. End up with a dud, man. Now they can't. They're having to probably pay off his contract to get rid of him. This is why I think Arsenal are doing business in the way they're doing it now. They've changed because they're scarred from the past. We've had a horror show.
Yeah, we have.
Horror show when it comes to these players.
Yeah, the most expensive sales are, this is in euros, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain at 38 million euros, Anelka at 35, Alexis Sanchez at 34, Fabregas at 34, and Robin Van Persie at 30.7. Now, to be fair,
And Balogun.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know
That was a good sell.
I don't know if they always include all the add-ons and everything. Apparently, it's Anelka. I'd also add that I think Sanchez was also part of a swap with Mkhitaryan, so maybe it was a swap, but
even Anelka,
it was just an agreed swap for certain fees.
Anelka was 20 mil plus Davor Suker, who was valued at 3.5 mil, or it was 23.5 mil. Then we bought him for 3.5 mil.
Right.
That's very cheap after.
The thing is, Edu this year, I think he's got a lot of pressure on him because those fringe players, he needs to get good money for them.
And he can. He can. And as I said, like for instance, last season when, I've said this before on a show, when we signed Eddie to a new deal and everyone's losing it. Straight away, I'm looking and thinking, that's sensible. You're protecting an asset. A guy's going to walk away for nothing. He's about to leave on a free. He's been at your club all these years. Sign him, new deal, 100 grand a week. The players feels good because he's getting a good wage. If it works out, great for the club. If it doesn't, you've now got him on a contract. You know already there's clubs out there were showing a big interest in him, like your Palaces and teams like that. You can move him on now. You can get at least a 20 million. You've made £20 million clear profit on a player that's come through your ranks. That for me is good business. That is when I'm seeing Arsenal thinking. Reece Nelson, same thing. Gave him a new deal. You could move him on for like a 15.
People are making the point in the comments about inflation. Yeah, okay.
No, but even around
Yeah.
that time, there was players going. This is, I'm not,
Yeah.
we're not silly here.
No, you're right,
The value of
Curtis.
money is different. But
Turkish,
around, like I said, Henry went Barca, Darren Bent, I remember went to Tottenham for around the same piece. Like, doesn't make sense. Fabregas went for 35. I remember other midfielders moving, maybe 30. That Fabregas was a young, generational midfielder.
Yeah.
You
Vieira and all these.
You
man.
compare us to like some teams, man, like Chelsea. Look how much money they sell some players.
Yeah,
They gave us Havertz 60 mil.
No
Look at them, Tottenham.
Yeah.
Some of the, and then you look at some of the teams that do it badly, like a Man United. They're another team that do it badly. You go and buy these players that everybody's jumping up and down at. Like the prime one they got right now is Casemiro.
Yeah.
An aging player, they went and spent £60 million on £300,000 a week wages. Now they can't.
washed up now, isn't it?
It looks washed up now. Can't get, unless the Saudis come in, they're stuck.
Yeah.
Well,
That's it.
we'll keep an eye on the sales and see what happens. I have a feeling that Arsenal don't need to sell to buy, but would prefer to sell before they go really big. I think they want to know really what's available. KD says, questions to the panel. By the way, KD, we do see the super chats. I know your comments are coming in, but we do see them. I'm going to go through them all now. Question to the panel. Who's your first option and worst option? Isak is mine. Leaving Isak. Leaving Isak out. Osman, Tony or Vlahovic. Okay, so basically he's asking, of the three, who do you want the most? Osman, Tony or Vlahovic?
Osman.
Yeah, Osman, yeah.
And the one you least want?
Vlahovic.
Vlahovic, Tony.
Tony.
Cool. Pratim says, Scott, says, is DR Sports doing watch-alongs for the Euros?
Yes.
Good. Italy, Spain. That's a big game. I drew Italy and Spain in front of
Turkey.
today. Oh, you're doing a watch-along for that game?
Huh?
Is it Turkey,
You'd have to do-
Portugal?
I'm there, innit?
He's going to be there, though.
We're
isn't
going
he?
to.
See,
Oh,
it's good for
We
our
wanted
TV.
to see you shouting, you know what I mean?
For TV, because
Yeah,
you
I'll
smash the
vlog it.
TV.
Yeah,
up,
smash
you know
up the
what I mean?
camera and when Ronaldo's celebrating. Yeah, don't get arrested out there, you know. Just calm down if Ronaldo scores and that.
We're good.
Jorge says, I'd go for Quinton Timber and Jimenez from Feyenoord. Should get the two Timber brothers reunited at Arsenal. Apparently he's a good midfielder.
Jimenez is an interesting one. You know,
His
because
name popped up in January.
Yeah,
innit?
yeah. Jimenez is an interesting one. He scored a lot of goals last season.
Why did
Dutch
his
league,
name
though.
die?
Arne
Always-
Slot was the manager.
Always worried about that Dutch league.
Yeah, I
When
know.
it comes to strikers,
There's a
you know
whole
what I mean?
heap of tax on that
Yeah,
league,
from
innit?
back in the day. Kesman.
Kesman, yeah, and then man.
Yeah.
Why?
Suarez made it out though.
Is that Bergwijn who went to
Oh,
Tottenham,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, Memphis Depay.
Memphis Depay, that's the next
Few
one.
of
That was
them.
the, that was the most
a
recent
few.
though.
Even Gakpo ain't
What
really
about
done.
Gakpo's the next one. Ain't really.
Vincent Janssen? He was a Tottenham
yeah,
sign in.
Terrible,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. I thought he was the next Van Persie. And they signed him. But he wasn't. Anyway, everyone, big thank you for joining us. Big thanks to Curtis. Big thanks to Robbie. Big thanks to Turkish as well. We'll be back next week. So you know, there is a roundtable talk. If you want to see more of Turkish here on AFTV, there are two videos coming out, one tomorrow at 5 p.m. and one Sunday at 1 p.m. And if you still need convincing that Isak is worth spending pretty ridiculous money on, I'll try to convince you in an In Focus coming out this weekend as well. Like I said, big thanks to everyone. Hit the like button.
I think they see enough of me, mate. You mean Curtis?
What did I say?
When you said if you want to see more of Turkish on the channel.
Yes, I'm not Curtis.
I'm glad though. Do you know how many times
They
I
do
get
that all
called
the
Curtis
time,
on the
innit?
I do
channel?
it all the time.
Robbie
Yeah.
alone, yeah. Curtis. Now you've
That's
got
why
it.
we got the show,
Nice.
innit? You know what I mean?
OG.
Just mix it, yeah.
If you want to see more of Curtis on the channel and less of Turkish, which I do, then go check out the videos coming out for the rest of this week. We'll be back next week for another Talking Transfers, keeping you up to date with everything happening. And as the Euros is happening as well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the transfer rumours. I feel like we'll get less, but more concrete ones as well, because obviously media attention will be on the big tournament. Big thank you all. Subscribe to the channel for updates, and we'll see you soon.